NFL Draft Day 2 is in the books, and it's time to just go over some notable picks from the second and third rounds tonight. Going into this, we had so many good prospects still on the board. Dalvin Cook, Curtis Samuel, Joe Mixon, DeShone Kizer, Zay Jones, Teez Tabor. The list just goes on and on. So let's start off with a couple of notable picks that stuck out. Number 33, Green Bay going with Kevin King, cornerback out of Washington. I think this is a solid pickup because Green Bay secondary was the second worst in the NFL last year. I think this will improve the secondary big time. 34, the Jacksonville Jaguars, one with Cam Robinson, offense tackle of Alabama. Let's just note that this was from Seattle. So Seattle went down from all the way to 26 down to 35 to take Malik McDowell, defense tackle, Michigan State. Now I feel like this is probably one of the most underrated prospects in this draft class. I would say he's one of the top 10 with a lot of potential. He's going to a team where defense is just extraordinarily good. And I think this is a great fit for Seattle's defense. And I believe I had him in the first round in the majority of my mock drafts. He could have easily been a top 15 pick. So this is a steal for Seattle. 36, Arizona. This is from Chicago. Budda Baker, safety out of Washington. I think this is a solid pickup as well. I think they're going to move him to corner to line him up opposite side of Patrick Peterson. This is a pretty good pick for Arizona as well. 37, Buffalo. This is from the Los Angeles Rams. Zay Jones, wide receiver out of Eastern Carolina. Now this was a guy that I thought could sneak into the first round. I believe in the mock draft 6.0, I thought that Zay Jones would either be sneaking right into the first round or be within the first 5 or 6 picks of the second round. And I was correct on that. I mean, he was a beast in the Senior Bowl. He was probably the best receiver out there. I feel like this is a much needed pickup for Buffalo, as they desperately need a receiver. Because Sammy Watkins hasn't been cutting the bill the last 2 years. No pun intended. 38, the LA Chargers with Forrest Lamp, the offensive guard of West Kentucky. Now, in a lot of mock drafts that I saw, they had him going in the top 20. And I think he's that talented that he could have gone in the top 20. Could have been the second offensive tackle taken in this draft. So I think the LA Chargers got a steal, setting up protection for Phillip Rivers. Number 40, Carolina going with Curtis Samuel, wide receiver of Ohio State. This is a great pickup as well. Carolina's receiving core now gets some speed and agility. 41, Minnesota. Now this was the pick we were all waiting for. Going with Dalvin Cook, running back out of Florida State. This was a big pickup for all sorts of reasons. Maybe some weren't thinking this was going to be necessarily the pick at that time, because they've already had Latavius Murray. But now they're adding Dalvin Cook. I feel like Dalvin Cook could be a challenge, could challenge him for the starting job. But I feel like if the season were to start a month from now, I think Latavius Murray would be the starter. I think Dalvin Cook's going to probably be one of the best backup running backs in the NFL. So he could contend for Rookie of the Year, I think. 43, Philadelphia with Sidney Jones, cornerback out of Washington. Now this is someone with talent. Many thought he could have been in the first round if it weren't for his injury. And I would agree as well. Along with the next pick that I'm going to talk about, Quincy Wilson, cornerback out of Florida. I believe I had him as a first round in a lot of my mock drafts as well. So I think the Colts definitely have helped out their secondary, so far in this draft, with already adding Malik Hooker. Number 47, Baltimore with Tyus Bowser, linebacker of Houston. I also thought that this guy was a steal, because in a lot of mock drafts, they had him slated going in the first round. Around like pick 25, like pick 31, maybe pick 29. I feel like this is a steal because of his talent. The talent that he has to get to the quarterback. 48, Cincinnati went with Joe Mixon, running back out of Oklahoma. And I have heard about the outrage of this pick. And he's being overshadowed with that incident. But he's still a talented running back who's kind of overshadowed by Simon P. Ryan, who's surprisingly still on the board. But I'm not going to talk too much into that. He probably would have been a first rounder had it not been for the evidence of his incident being released. Number 41, Denver with DeMarcus Walker, defensive end of Florida State. This is a huge help for Denver's defense. They never really got to replace Danny Trevathan or Malik Jackson. So this is kind of a big help for them. I feel like DeMarcus Walker had the talent and the numbers, just from last year alone, to be probably a top 15 pick. So Denver's getting an A-plus steal at this point. 52, Cleveland got their quarterback in DeShone Kizer out of Notre Dame. Now, I saw some tweets from Mason Talks. I'll put the link of his channel in the description box below. He was telling me on Twitter that he liked where they put him at this point. They liked the position he was selected in. He did pick DeShone Kizer in the fan mock draft at pick number 12. This was kind of a great pick for the Browns. They waited patiently for the quarterback, and they got one in DeShone Kizer, but I think he's at least 2 seasons away from contending for a starting job. Maybe he'll get a starting job earlier within those 2 years, but we will see. 53, Detroit going with Teez, Tabor, cornerback out of Florida. This easily could have been a first rounder, but he didn't have the best NFL combine statistically. And that's probably what ultimately caused him to go this low. So Detroit, in a way, got a steal. As well as Oakland with Obi Melifonwu, safety out of UConn. Many had him going in the first round as well. Along with Houston going with Zach Cunningham at 57, linebacker out of Vanderbilt. And with pick number 60, Dallas went with Chidobe Awuzie, cornerback out of Colorado. All 4 of those guys that I just read off, they were first rounders in a lot of mock drafts that I saw. But of course, mock drafts are all about opinion. All 4 of those guys have first round talent. Really underrated athletes. Kind of undervalued with their respective schools. 62, Pittsburgh going with Juju Smith-Schuster, wide receiver of USC. I think this is kind of a huge help to the receiving corps. But they do have receivers like Antonio Brown, of course. Sammy Coates, who stepped up a little bit last season. And Martavis Bryant, who's waiting to be reinstated. If he hasn't been reinstated already. Which I think he might have been already, but I'm not sure. Somebody comment down below. 67, New Orleans going with Alvin Kamara, running back out of Tennessee. Now, this was kind of the pick. They were probably going to, in a way, I feel like they were trying to mock the Panthers a bit. With the Panthers taking Christian McCaffrey, number 8, who was probably only going to have like 10 to 15 carries a game. Same thing could apply for Alvin Kamara, maybe even less than that, considering the Saints have Mark Ingram and Adrian Peterson, and now Alvin Kamara. I feel like Alvin Kamara is at least 4 years away from starting in the NFL. I think maybe this was a long-term thing, Because Adrian Peterson's contract's only 2 years. At pick number 69, the LA Rams went with Cooper Kupp, wide receiver of Eastern Washington. This is also an exciting pick. Because I feel like he's the most underrated wide receiver in this draft class behind Zay Jones. And he set an FCS record for most receiving yards in a career. Not only is that an FCS record, but that's an NCAA record. And I feel like the Rams, I think they got a solid pick here. Get a target for quarterback Jared Goff. That way it'll give him some time to develop. Because they did take a tight end with pick 44. So with the 2 picks that the Rams have had tonight, they got some solid receiving targets for Jared Goff. And speaking of wide receivers, I didn't put this down as a notable, but Carlos Henderson, wide receiver of Louisiana Tech, going to the Broncos. Big weapon for Trevor Siemian or Pascal Lynch, or whoever starts quarterback next year. Another one of those underrated wide receivers that have a lot of potential. 89, Houston Texans drafting Donta Foreman, running back out of Texas. I think this is the perfect pick. A lot of people thought Donta Foreman could go in the first round, but that was early in the mock draft season. Some would say the Texans got a steal, and this is a much need for the Texans as well. So the Texans have had a pretty solid draft so far. 104, San Francisco was C.J. Beathard, quarterback out of Iowa. Now, there was no question the 49ers were going to go with a quarterback at some point in the draft. But some believe that rumor that San Francisco was going to take a quarterback at pick number 2. And I originally thought that about 2 months ago back in February. I feel like C.J. Beathard might be competing for that starting job. Considering that the quarterbacks they have on the roster right now are Blaine Gabbert and Brian Hoyer. So I feel like we might be seeing C.J. Beathard a little bit next season. Number 105 and 106. Now these are notable because of not only their talent, but everything they've been through. James Conner going to the Pittsburgh Steelers at pick 105. And Amari Darboh, wide receiver of Michigan. Just everything those two have been through. If you just read their stories about everything they've been through, they've worked hard to get here. And I wish those two the best of luck. I'll be rooting for both of them. Anyway, so that's going to do it for notable picks from the second and third round. Kind of a second and third round draft recap, day 2 recap, day 2 reaction. Day 3 is tomorrow, which there are still some interesting players still on the board. Josh Dobbs, quarterback for Tennessee. Samaje Perine is still on the board. Josh Reynolds still on the board for Texas A&M. Another one of those underrated wide receivers who started off at JUCO college. Anyway, that is all I have for you today. Like and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Twitter, JB Talk Sports. I will see you in my next video. Have a great night or great day, depending on when you're watching. I will see you next time.